Welcome back to Theme Park Spark. Did you know that as part of the Disneyland 70th anniversary celebration, Disney created the first ever animatronic of Walt Disney? Well, now you do. And you can see that somewhat controversial animatronic for yourself at the Walt Disney Magical Life show at the Disneyland Opera House. In this video, I'm taking you on a tour of the Disney Museum inside the lobby of the Opera House, and I'll show you the full show of Walt Disney A Magical Life from the front row of the theater. Plus, I'll tell you why the animatronic of Walt Disney is controversial and share my honest thoughts of the museum, the show, and the Walt Disney animatronic. When you first walk in the Opera House, you'll see a couple pieces of Disney history. Do you know how Walt Disney came up with the idea for Disneyland? He was sitting on a park bench in Griffith Park in Los Angeles watching his daughters on the carousel, and he thought, wouldn't it be nice if there were a place where parents could have fun with their kids instead of parents just watching their kids have fun? This is an actual bench from Griffith Park and an actual horse from the Griffith Park carousel, which still exists, by the way. However, it hasn't been operational for several years. Inside the museum, you can also see pictures from the Disney archives. My favorite part of this whole museum, show, everything, was looking at the original maps of Disneyland. The original idea, which I didn't know previously, was to build Disneyland in Burbank, California, which is where Walt Disney Studios is located. I used to live walking distance to Walt Disney Studios, so it would have been awesome if Disneyland were basically in my backyard. Although I imagine if Disneyland were in Burbank, it would be quite a bit different there. But I understand why Walt decided against that plan. There wasn't all that much space available, and Anaheim was mainly undeveloped. Disneyland would have been much smaller than it is now if Walt had gone with the original plan to build the park in Burbank. There definitely wouldn't have been room for Disney California Adventure in the future either. You can also see displays of pictures and drawings that were used to design each of the lands inside Disneyland. I took my time looking at all of these displays. If this is boring to you, feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter. But I personally love Disney history, and this right here, this is Disney history. So as we walk around the museum, I'm going to read some of the signs that were on display describing the original ideas for the various lands. Early concept art for Fantasyland envisioned a world where fairy tales and storybooks come to life. Imagineers crafted illustrations filled with towering castles, charming villages, and whimsical landscapes inspired by classic Disney animated films. Worn on the wrists of dreamers, Disneyland watches have long been a cherished way to keep a piece of the magic close. This collection features early designs, including a Winnie the Pooh watch, complete with a charming figure of the silly old bear, a Mickey Mouse stopwatch, and a special edition Donald Duck birthday watch. I had a Mickey Mouse watch back when I was in high school. I'm going to have to look and see where it is. Main Street USA is America at the turn of the century. The gas lamps and the electric lamp, the horse-drawn car and the auto car. Main Street is everyone's hometown. Before Main Street USA welcomed guests to Disneyland, Imagineers crafted concepts that captured the charm and nostalgia of an American town. Inspired in part by Walt Disney's own childhood memories of Marceline, Missouri, these illustrations envisioned a warm, bustling street filled with quaint shops, horse-drawn streetcars, and the spirit of a small town. Every storefront, lamppost, and architectural detail was carefully designed to evoke a sense of history and optimism, welcoming guests into a world where the past meets the magic of Disney storytelling. Early concept art for Adventureland captured Walt Disney's vision of a vibrant natural world inspired by lush jungles, storied civilizations, and bold exploration. These designs drew inspiration from true-life adventures and live-action epics like the Swiss Family Robinson. Among these concepts were ideas that would become the Jungle Cruise and the Swiss Family Treehouse. These evocative renderings laid the groundwork for a land of discovery and wonder. Disneyland has always transported guests to new worlds. In Frontierland, Imagineers brought Walt Disney's vision of the Old West to life with early concept art that captured dusty trails, mighty rivers, bustling towns, and the spirit of adventure. Spirit of Adventure, I think that's the name of something from a Pixar Up movie. You know what I'm talking about? Decades later, that same spirit shaped the bold vision for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Concept art imagined X-wings soaring into Black Spire Outpost, a village on the edge of the wild space. Drawing from the cinematic legacy of Star Wars, designers created an immersive world like no other. Hand-drawn concept art for New Orleans Square captured the elegance and mystery of the historic French Quarter, with its intricate ironwork balconies, gas-lit streets, and lively courtyards. The Imagineers' sketches are so vivid you can almost feel the warm southern charm, hear the swinging jazz echoing through the streets, and catch the sweet scent of beignets in the air. These early illustrations helped shape a place where cobblestone streets, swashbuckling pirates, ghostly mansions, and the timeless spirit of Mardi Gras come to life. The lands of Disneyland have always been shaped by bold imagination and visionary design. In Mickey's Toontown, the whimsical renderings set out to envision a vibrant neighborhood where curved buildings, exaggerated proportions, and bold colors brought an animated world to life, where every corner feels like stepping into a living cartoon. Nearby, the Bear Country, known to the toe-tapping Country Bear Jamboree, became Critter Country. More recent designs show how it transformed into Bayou Country. Before Tomorrowland became a reality, Disney Imagineers created concepts that brought the future to life on paper. These early illustrations envisioned a world of sleek transportation, space-age architecture, and cutting-edge technology, an optimistic glimpse into the possibilities of tomorrow. Guided by Walt Disney's belief in progress and innovation, these visionary designs helped shape a land where guests could experience the excitement of space travel, scientific discovery, and the promise of a brighter future. Through art and imagination, Tomorrowland became a place where the dreams of the future could be experienced today. One of my favorite rides is in Tomorrowland, Space Mountain. Here's a quote from Walt Disney about Tomorrowland. "A vista into a world of wondrous ideas, signifying man's achievements. A step into the future with predictions of constructive things to come." Before his groundbreaking work in entertainment, Walt Disney was recognized for his profound contributions to society. In 1964, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, one of the United States' highest civilian honors for shaping American culture through storytelling and imagination. Walt was also honored by the American Forestry Association for his dedication to conservation and the protection of America's natural resources, further reflecting his belief in protecting the world for future generations. Walt Disney's generosity extended far beyond the screen. Known for his deep sense of compassion, he gave both time and resources to causes close to his heart. From supporting the Red Cross to contributing to St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, Walt believed in giving back to the community that shaped him. He was a devoted advocate for children's welfare, supporting organizations like Toys for Tots and Easter Seals, and often used his platform to inspire charitable giving. Whether through fundraising, personal donations, or acts of kindness, Walt Disney's legacy of giving continues to uplift lives and inspire goodwill around the world. Walt Disney was a trailblazer of cinematic storytelling, constantly pushing the boundaries of what animation and live-action film could achieve. From the earliest Mickey Mouse cartoon shorts to the groundbreaking animated feature film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt blended artistry and innovation to create films that captivated audiences around the world. This collection of images celebrates Walt behind the camera, directing, experimenting, and crafting stories that would shape film for generations. Long before the term Imagineer became widely known, Walt Disney was leading the way at WED Enterprises, the creative force behind the development of Disneyland. He wasn't just the visionary, he was a hands-on collaborator, reviewing models, testing ideas, and working side by side with his team to turn bold concepts into reality. Walt Disney's vision for Pirates of the Caribbean was filled with adventure, humor, and lifelike audio-animatronic characters. With the help of WED Imagineers, advanced technology brought these swashbuckling scoundrels to life in ways no one had seen before. Walt Disney's knack for storytelling and groundbreaking technology brought the message of global unity to life with It's a Small World. First created for the 1964-1965 New York World's Fair as a benefit for UNICEF, this beloved attraction features hundreds of animated dolls, each singing together, representing cultures from around the world. Following its success at the World's Fair, It's a Small World was relocated to Disneyland, where it continues to delight guests with its timeless message of peace and unity. Another really cool part of the museum is this recreation of the inside of Walt Disney's apartment in Disneyland. In case you don't already know, Walt Disney built an apartment on the upper level of the Disneyland fire station in Town Square. If you look above the fire station, you can see a light in the window, and during the holidays, the light is a small Christmas tree. Walt used to stay in this apartment during the construction of Disneyland, so that he didn't have to drive back and forth from his home in Los Angeles every night. The apartment is not accessible to the general public and can only be seen by taking a tour that includes seeing inside the apartment. The recreation makes it possible for everyone to get a glimpse of the inside of Walt's apartment. Inside the museum lobby, there is also a video playing that helps explain the significance of the items on display. Let's watch that video together now.
Walt Disney Imagineering is a 200,000-piece collection of concept and design artwork created by over 2,100 artists for our theme parks, resorts, and cruise ships worldwide. I'm Mike Jesko, Imagineering's principal art archivist, and I have the privilege of working with that collection every day. The artwork you see in the Disney Gallery all comes from the Imagineering art collection. We're pleased to share it with you in celebration of Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Some of these pieces may be favorites of yours, and some, I can tell you, have never been seen before. Displayed together for the first time are 10 Disneyland site plans. They take you on a journey of Walt's first idea for Disneyland on a strip of land across the street from his studio in Burbank up to the Disneyland site plan created for Anaheim. The same weekend, Walt Disney and Herb Ryman created their iconic bird's eye view of the park. For the first time, you get to see the details of what was inside the Burbank version of Disneyland and Harper Goff's site plans. You can see how Walt was thinking about all aspects of his park, such as themed merchandise, and how the name of his park was always going to be Disneyland. Walt's expanding ideas for what he wanted Disneyland to be outgrew the Burbank site, and he started the search for the right location to build his theme park. 2 site plans by Marvin Davis explore versions of what a 50-acre park might look like. On display is the first site plan specifically drawn for the Anaheim location by Marvin Davis, as well as the first plan that has been rotated to place the entrance on the south side of the park, as it is today. The next site plan is the one famously included in the pitch kit Roy Disney used in New York when presenting the idea of Disneyland to potential investors. The final site plan on display is one drawn by Marvin Davis the same weekend Walt and Herb Ryman were creating their masterpiece overall bird's eye of Disneyland. The site plan is included in their drawing in the bottom right corner. Seeing this collection together of Disneyland site plans shows exactly what Walt was thinking as he explored what Disneyland could be. I hope you see the many ideas he had and how he kept trying different arrangements and including a variety of attractions and experiences. This is a real illustration of what Walt meant when he said, "As long as there is imagination left in the world, Disneyland will never be completed."
And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, the full show of Walt Disney: A Magical Life. Be sure to keep watching after the show to hear my thoughts about the show and Walt Disney as an animatronic.
Welcome to Walt Disney: A Magical Life. From Mickey Mouse to motion pictures, television parks, and beyond, Walt's vision and risk-taking have led to a lifetime of entertainment. The tribute you're about to see is told in Walt's own words from interviews recorded throughout his career. Although the quality of these recordings do vary, we hope that you agree it creates a unique perspective into his life. For the courtesy of those around you, we do ask that you silence your cell phones, no flash photography, and if at any point you need to leave during the show, your exit doors are to your right-hand side, which will also be your exit doors at the end of the show. Now to help narrate our show, the Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger.
They say that Hollywood is a town built on dreams, and one of its greatest dreamers was Walt Disney. His life was filled with both exhilarating success and heartbreaking setbacks. But he never gave up. He just kept moving toward that great big, beautiful tomorrow. The story of Walt's life is truly a magical one, and no one could tell it quite like Walt himself.
My dad worked as a carpenter in the World's Fair building. He eventually ended up in Chicago as a contractor, and he was doing that when I was born, December 1901. But my dad made some money as a contractor. Then he wanted to get back to the farm. They finally ended up buying this farm in Marceline, Missouri. It was a beautiful farm, but it was not the kind of farm to make a living on. Things got pretty tough on the farm, and my dad had a sickness. So my dad sold the farm, took the money, and went to Kansas City. And my dad bought this Kansas City Star route. And they gave me a route. I was about 9 or 10 when I started that. Winter, we'd go out at 3:30 in the morning right after a blizzard, or in a blizzard, or in pouring rain. It didn't matter. I did that for 6 years. It was tough.
The constant hardship took a heavy toll on the Disney family. One by one, the children began to leave home. Then one day, Walt woke up to find his best friend, his brother Roy, had gone as well. So Walt did something that he would do throughout his life when things got tough. He took a chance.
My brother had joined the Navy, so I wanted to join him. Well, I was still a year too young. I was 16. Finally, this kid come in to me very excited. He said, "There's something just forming here that you and I can get in." I said, "What is it?" He said, "An ambulance unit." I was in Paris, 3rd of September, when Pershing pulled out. Paris, which had been this exciting thing, and all these soldiers and things, suddenly there wasn't a soldier to be seen. And I suddenly became very lonesome. So then I went in, put a request in to be discharged. So I hit Chicago, that's where my parents were living, and I said, "Dad, I want to be an artist." And my dad, he just couldn't buy that. So I pulled stakes and moved to Kansas City. Roy was in Kansas City working at a bank. One of the fellows working with Roy said, "Say, I have a couple of friends that have an art shop." So I went up with these samples, and there were all these corny things I'd done in France. Well, my gosh, they hired me. I mean, right on the spot. So I took the camera home, and then I started experimenting in my own way. So then I went into this Kansas City Film Ad Company. So that was where I got started in the animation business. So I was thinking if I had something with a novel quick, I might crack the market. But I still couldn't get anywhere with it. I failed. I learned a lot out of that. And I think it's important to have a good failure when you're young. So I packed all my worldly goods in a cardboard suitcase. I went to Hollywood. Arriving there with just $40 in my pocket from my Kansas City ventures. Now my brother Roy was already in Los Angeles. Both of us were unemployed. We solved the problem by going into business for ourselves. We established the first animated cartoon studio in Hollywood.
Walt's dreams were finally coming true. He had his first big hit, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And he had married the love of his life, Lillian, an ink and paint artist at the studio who shared his dreams. Then he was dealt a devastating blow. On a business trip to New York City, he learned that he had lost ownership of Oswald due to a contract loophole. And to make matters worse, The distributor had signed away Walt's artists. Most people would have given up right then and there. Not Walt Disney. He sent a telegram to his brother Roy. Everything okay. And as he headed home to California, something happened along the way that would change things forever.
Mickey Mouse came into our life.
He popped out of my mind onto a drawing pad on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood at a time when the business fortunes of my brother Roy and myself were at lowest ebb and disaster seemed right around the corner. His first actual screen appearance was at the Old Colony Theater in New York in Steamboat Willie. He was the first cartoon character to stress personality, and I thought of him from the first as a distinct individual. I did the voice. Hang on, pal, here we go. Mickey was simply a little personality assigned to the purposes of laughter. Mickey fitted the need exactly. He brought in the money which saved the day. He enabled us to explore our medium, and he paved the way for our more elaborate screen ventures.
By nature, I'm an experimenter, so I had another idea which was plaguing my brain. It was the Silly Symphonies. It was a series without a central character.
Every one was a new type of subject to give us something to reach out and accomplish something different. Then we started distributing both Mickey Mouse and the Silly Symphonies. It was nip and tuck, get them out.
Walt began to push himself and his artists. And when he wasn't working, he was worrying about the future. And then the inevitable happened. In 1931, he had what he called a heck of a breakdown. So he did something unique for Walt Disney. He took time off and took his wife on the first vacation they had ever had. When they returned, he was a new man, filled with ideas for the future.
I saw the handwriting on the wall there. It was a short subject. It's just a filler on any program. Now, if I could craft the feature field, then I could do things. I had done a little story research on different fairy tales I might do, and Snow White was one of them. I thought it was a perfect story. I had the heavy.
It's a magic wishing apple. Now, make a wish.
I had the prince, then the girl, the romance. I had the sympathetic dwarfs and things. We started Snow White sometime late 35, and it was around 2 years in the making. We had the family fortune. We had everything wrapped up in Snow White. In fact, the banker, I think, was losing more sleep than I was. We had a big premiere at the Carthage Circle Theater. Big, grand Hollywood premiere. All of Hollywood brass turned out for a cartoon.
The Granny of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is going to be presented this beautiful statue. Isn't it bright and shiny?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Aren't you proud of it, Mr. Disney?
Well, I'm so proud I think I'll bust.
With the profits of Snow White, I built a studio. Two years later, I was almost broke. But I had all these pictures and words.
But okay.
There are no strings on me.
Bambi. Fantasia.
That was when the war came. The whole world was collapsing then. So many of my boys went through the service. So I just practically stopped my feature production. That's all I could do. But after the war, we had a problem picking up the pieces. I knew that diversifying in the business would be the the salvation of it. So I tried various things. I want to go beyond the cartoon. And I thought if I could get into the live aid, there's things I could do.
Stand by, engines.
Come on, Aaron, boy, get him!
Not bad, eh, Charlie? Let's open her up and see what you really do.
I wanted enough different types of things that I could fall on my nose with one of these pictures, but I had another one right behind it that would hit.
After a long concentration on live action and cartoon films, we decided to try something that would employ about every trick we learned in the making of films. We would combine cartoon, live action, in an enormous fantasy, Mary Poppins. As the original Mary Poppins budget of $5 million continued to grow, I never saw a sad face around the studio. Even my brother Roy was happy. This made me nervous. And the horrible thought struck me. Suppose the staff had finally conceded that I knew what I was doing.
Once again, Walt Disney had created storytelling magic to reinvent family entertainment. But even then, he wasn't finished. He had a bigger dream in mind.
Well, it came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things, and I would take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places, and as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where the parents and the children could have fun together. So that's how Disneyland started.
Takes a lot of money to make these dreams come true. And we had everything mortgaged, including my family.
Started with many ideas, threw them away, started all over again. Eventually it evolved into what you see today as Disneyland. But it all started from a daddy with two daughters wondering where he could take them, where he could have a little fun with them too.
The heart means a lot to me in that something will never be finished, something that I can keep developing and adding to. Not only can I add things, but even the trees will keep growing. The thing will get more beautiful every year. And I knew that if I did anything like the park, I had to have some kind of a medium like television to let the people know about it.
The world is a carousel of color, history, comedy, fantasy. There's drama and birth, there's old Mother Earth, with all of her secrets to see. The miracle of imagination, the marvels of earth, sea, and sky. These wonders untold are ours to behold in the funny world, the sunny world, the wonderful world of color.
And now your host, Walt Disney. Today, I want to share with you some of our ideas for Disney World. Here in Florida, we have something special we never enjoyed at Disneyland, a blessing of size. There's enough land here to hold all the ideas and plans we could possibly imagine. We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
Throughout his storied career, Walt never gave up, despite the many challenges along the way. For his visionary work, he received hundreds of awards from all corners of the globe, more Academy Awards than any individual in history, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom for a lifetime of inspiring others. He created dreams that live on today for millions around the world. But with all of that, when asked to name his greatest reward, Walt's reply was surprisingly humble.
Well, my greatest reward, I think, is that I've been able to build this wonderful organization, and also to have the public appreciate and accept what I've done all these years. That is a great reward. But all individuals are different. I had a brother who I really envied because He was a mailman, but he was the one that had all the fun. He had himself a trailer, and he used to go off and go fishing, and he didn't worry about payrolls, heard stories, he said, had picture grocers or anything. And he was the happy one. I always said, he's the smart Disney. You know, I was stumped one day when the little boy asked, "Do you draw Mickey Mouse?" And I had to admit I do not draw anymore. Well, then you think up all the jokes and ideas. No, I said, I don't do that. Finally, he looked at me and said, "Mr. Disney, just what do you do?" Well, I said, sometimes I think of myself as a little bee. I go from one area of the studio to another and gather pollen and sort of stimulate everybody. I guess that's the job I do. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in developing ideas into realities, but there's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting. We're interested in doing things that are fun, in bringing pleasure and especially laughter to people. But I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing. It was all started by a mouse.
This show and the Walt Disney Animatronic are quite controversial. I was very excited to see this show when I first heard about it. I planned to go on opening day of the show. I wanted to be one of the first ones to see it. But after seeing pictures of the Walt Animatronic, I kind of lost my interest in seeing it. Eventually, a few months later, I decided to see it for myself, and that's the video you're watching now. I wanted to know for myself if the Walt Disney Animatronic actually looked like Walt Disney, if he looked better in person than he did in the pictures, and I have to say my honest thoughts are the animatronic looks nothing like Walt Disney. The face is completely wrong. The eyebrows are almost scary looking. It really looks worse in person than in pictures. I've heard the opposite from some people. I've heard some people say that they think it looks better in person or that it felt just like Walt was there. And I honestly don't know what you're talking about. Everyone can have their own opinion, but to me it looks nothing like Walt Disney. And also, in my opinion, there is absolutely no excuse for getting the face of Walt Disney wrong. It's the founder of the company, and Walt never would have settled. He worked on the Abraham Lincoln animatronic, which is the very first animatronic of a person ever. He worked on that animatronic until it was perfect. And it is perfect. It's also the other show available in the Opera House when the Walt Disney show is not happening. And if you have a chance to see the Abraham Lincoln show, definitely do. Also, the Jack Sparrow animatronic, which was done after Walt's death, so it's not to say that Walt had to be there to make it perfect. The Jack Sparrow animatronic on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, it looks like Jack Sparrow. It's so good that some people, will take a double take to see, is that Johnny Depp? Is that really Jack Sparrow? It's not. It's an animatronic. I mean, there have been a few exceptions, but it's an animatronic. The Walt animatronic should be just as accurate. I loved the museum. I loved seeing the items from the Disney archives and the Disney Family Museum. I loved the show. I loved Disney history and watching behind the scenes making of type shows on Disney Plus. I love that kind of thing. So this was along those lines for me. I loved hearing the story of Walt Disney's life and how he became Walt Disney, the way we know him as an animator, as a innovator, as the creator of Disneyland. But I really think they should pause the entire show until they can get the Walt Disney animatronic to actually look like Walt Disney. Tell me in the comments what you think of Walt Disney A Magical Life and what you think of the Walt Disney animatronic. Do you think that they should pause the show? Do you think that it never should have been created to begin with? I've heard that Walt once said he didn't want to be an animatronic, so maybe they never should have even done this. Tell me what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching Theme Park Spark. Please like and subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified about upcoming videos about Disneyland and other fun places worth visiting in Southern California and beyond. See you next time.